life of Re is sort of recreating and reimagining something that's been done, so sort of living the beta life, as they're saying. And what we've done is basically taken insects, which is an age-old food source, and sort of become discarded, and people don't really focus on it, and trying to breathe life into it, to redefine the way people think about it. So it's taking something that's sort of, I don't want to say been done, but it's there, and sort of just breathing new life into it and changing people's perspective about it. And that's sort of like the recreating and the redefining, reimagining, sort of reintroducing it into people's life and mindset.
So now you're a food scientist. Why did you decide that bugs are the way people should eat going forward?
Being a food scientist, you learn a lot about the food system and sort of what goes on in food. And I think what I really like about insects is that they're natural, and they truly are sustainable, and they're healthy. So it basically has everything that you want for a future food, or actually I think it should have been from the beginning, but you know, the food system sort of like had to morph and change, and I think what we're looking now is going back to how it should be, sort of healthy products that are sustainable to farm and environmentally friendly, and you know, really like you're looking at animal welfare concerns, and you're really taking all of those things into consideration, and insects have all of those aspects. The only thing it doesn't have is that Western acceptance. And for me, what I really wanted to do, and it was actually, it's a challenge, is to really change the way people think about it and introduce it to people in a way they didn't previously imagine. So it's a really fun way of breathing life into something really old and making it new and fun.
I mean, you touch on a very important point there, because in South Africa at least, we've been eating mopani worms and all sorts of other bugs for centuries, if not decades. And in Asia, they also have been eating crickets for a long time. They're delicacies. But as you say, it's not really widely accepted in Western culture. How do we change that? How do you think you are changing that as Bugalicious?
I think the way to change it is to show people the potential of insects, because you know, people that have grown up with it in their tradition, they know how to eat it, they know the flavors, they understand the products, and I think that's what makes it easy. You know, in the Western world, we have this preconceived idea that insects are gross, but people haven't really tried it. And what I want to do is basically introduce it in a way that people can taste it and really see that it can be really great and really tasty, and also have all those other benefits. And you know, hopefully that'll open people's mind to incorporating other insect-based products, and not even just what we're doing, because you know, we want to create a sustainable industry. And it's just about changing people's mindset, and it's just, I think tasting is the big thing, is getting people to taste it and just to change what they thought about eating insects.
Give us a sense of the range of products you're introducing. I mean, ice cream, I think, was a good start, because it's, you know, it gets people interested, and it's a novel food that people can eat. But what else are you developing?
So what we've actually done is we've developed a dairy substitute made from the insects. The ice cream, yeah, it's really not going to save the world, but it's a nice way to get people to try it. But ultimately what we want to do is bring other dairy alternative products onto the market using our insect milk. So sort of looking at your cheeses and your yogurts and sort of the health-orientated products. Our long-term goal is to really drive the costs of insect farming down, so that we can have a high-impact product that can sort of service not just the high-end, but also the lower-income communities, because that's the people that really need that nutrition and sort of that sustainability in their farming practices as well. So what we're doing now is sort of just getting people on board and changing their perception, so that we can build the industry to support not just a thriving high-end industry, but also hopefully try and service the low-income people later, because there's actually a huge prevalence of lactose intolerance in a lot of the African communities, and they're still drinking milk because that's all they have, but it's not good for them, or they feel sick, but they don't really understand why. So it's sort of trying to look ahead at where we can really make an impact in the future.
How does one make milk, and what is the core ingredient of your milk?
The core ingredient is an insect called the black soldier fly larva. This insect is farmed globally. It's typically farmed for animal feed, but we're farming them for human food. So we're growing it on a cleaner substrate. What's really great about them is they're naturally high in protein and fat, which makes a really creamy dairy substitute. And on top of that, they're really high in iron, zinc, and calcium. which are deficiencies that are prevalent both in the high and low income communities. So it's a really packs quite a nutrient punch. How we make it is that's our secret.
I can imagine this is quite an expensive endeavor that you've undertaken here.
Yes, I think doing anything new is expensive because you're working with novel technologies, novel farming methods. Everything is still trying to get up to scale and become efficient. So it is a costly start, but we're thinking of the long term and sort of the impact that we can make, and the costs that are incurred now are almost going to be irrelevant with what you can achieve in the long run. So I think, starting sort of disruptive innovation is an expensive, timely process, but it's something you have to push through.
As a young entrepreneur, how did you find funding for this project?
I was actually very lucky. We got supported by TIA, the Technology Innovation Agency in South Africa, and they gave us a grant to do the prototype development, which really gave us that edge to do the scientific research properly. And then we partnered with CPUT in Cape Town, and they have an amazing agri-station. So we had a government support, which was I think is imperative when you're trying to create innovations, especially in the agri side. So we were very lucky. At the moment, we're going forward and looking for our first seed round of funding so that we can really take it, past the prototyping and into sort of a more commercial setting.